I'm Nick Westergaard, and this is On Brand, helping you tell your story. My guest this week is Precious Williams.
So if you want to sound like everybody else, you get treated like everybody else. So number one, why are you the only choice that matters for this position, for this opportunity, for this investment? So you need 150 reasons why someone should hire you, book you, refer you. Number two, since most start off with their name, the name of their company, boring, give them a reason to care. No, we're not going to start off like that. What you want to do is interrupt the pattern of boring.
Every time you open your mouth, your prospects will be throwing money at you. Learn the simple steps to wowing your customer with a perfect pitch with Precious L. Williams, the #Killer Pitch Master. Precious L. Williams is a 13-time National Elevator Pitch Champion. She has been featured on Shark Tank, CNN, Wall Street Journal, Forbes Magazine, Black Enterprise Magazine, Essence Magazine, and the movie Leap. Her current clients include Microsoft, LinkedIn, Google, NBC Universal, Federal Reserve Bank, Intuit QuickBooks, Yelp, Harvard University, and more. Precious is a dynamic international professional speaker, 4-time #1 best-selling author, and she's my guest this week on the On Brand podcast. But first,
we know you listen to Marketing Podcast Network shows like this one because you are smart, discerning, and have impeccable taste. We've been brainstorming ways to reward you for listening and have something. MPN is a proud sponsor of the Creator Economy Expo 2023. That means you get a discount. This event is for content creators and entrepreneurs interested in building and growing their content-first businesses. Join over 500 bloggers, podcasters, authors, newsletter writers, speakers, coaches, consultants, and freelancers at the learning and networking event for content creators. Plan to attend May 1st through the 3rd in Cleveland, Ohio, and just for listening to the Marketing Podcast Network, you get $100 off your ticket. Go to cex.events to register. Use the coupon code MPN100. That's cex.events. Just type that into your browser, the whole thing, cex.events. The code MPN100. Creator Economy Expo, Cleveland, May 1st through the 3rd. See you there.
as a business-to-business marketer, your needs are unique. B2B buying cycles are long, and your customers face incredibly complex decisions. Isn't it time you had a marketing platform built specifically for you? LinkedIn ads empower marketers with solutions for you and your customers. LinkedIn ads allow you to build the right relationships, drive results, and reach your customers in a respectful manner. On LinkedIn, you'll have access to and build relationships with decision makers. Of the 875 million users on the network, 180 million are senior level executives, 10 million are C-level executives. You'll also be able to drive results with targeting and measurement tools built specifically for B2B. And they work. Audiences exposed to brand messages on LinkedIn are 6 times more likely to convert. LinkedIn ads is also ranked #1 for security, community, and ad experience as part of Business Insider's Digital Trust Study. Make B2B marketing everything it can be and get a $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/MPN to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/MPN. Terms and conditions apply. Precious Williams, welcome to On Brand.
On brand, I am so appreciative to be here with you.
I am excited to chat. You know, I love the idea of an elevator pitch champion because in addition to the many hats that I wear, I teach at the College of Business here at the University of Iowa. And we talk about elevator pitches a lot, but being a bit of a word nerd, I always wondered, do they actually happen in elevators? And I was thrilled. I was thrilled when one of our students was interviewing for a job at Walmart corporate and ended up in an elevator with an executive and came up to me and was so excited that we'd worked on elevator pitches because here we go. So how does one become a 13-time National Elevator Pitch Champion?
Well, in order to become a 13-time National Elevator Pitch Champion, I'm going to be honest with you. Mine came literally because my back was against the wall. I started my first company, Curvy Girls Lingerie, when I was 327 pounds, and I was, a very disgruntled attorney. Yes, in the great state of New York. I was like, I can do more. I left my ex-fiance, wound up dating a very famous Hollywood actor who is deceased now, has been deceased for a while. And the only reason I was I had that much weight on me is because I was depressed in my last relationship as it was ending, right? And so here was this man who you would never think would look my way, as curvy women or women who have a little bit more meat on their bones. You never think a man like that would ever look your way, let alone give you the time of day. But I wrote a poem called Two to Tango on a site that is very different than it was in 2010. It was Craigslist. Yes, it sounds embarrassing, but that's how we met, on Craigslist. We went on our first date, never thought he would show up. He showed up and showed out, kept wanting to go on dates with me. He said I was different and my poem really touched him. So it was the beginning of being the killer pitch master. And he inspired me to start that lingerie company. And no, I couldn't go up against Victoria's Secret, but Victoria's Secret didn't create anything for women my size. And the little holes in the walls that you see everywhere, like, no, we can do better than that. It's not a matter of money and income. It was a matter that it just wasn't created. And so I asked my family and friends if they would invest, because that's what you hear from the gurus. Oh, ask your family and friends. What if you don't come from that? And your friends don't believe you can do it because they think you should be satisfied with being an attorney. I said, man, I want to live life on the edge. So I went to an event I couldn't afford. And wouldn't you know it, I went to pitch for the producers of MSNBC. Did not know what the pitch was going to be, but just rose to the occasion, back against the wall, negative $400 in my bank account. And I just pitched. And they said no one had ever pitched at that event. It was the Crane Small Business Awards. And do you know, they wanted me on Your Business with JJ Ramberg. So my first pitch that I just made up on the spot got me on national television. My second pitch on Your Business with JJ Ramberg in the elevator pitch segment, I walked away with $500,000 in 54 seconds. And that was in 2012. Wow. The investors told me, you need to enter pitch competitions because the way you pitch is so different. And that's when I learned that, pitching is not what most people think it is, just stringing words together. That's cute. Or I do this to help. No. That's whack. That's what everybody else does. I don't do that. And when you change your language, you really change the game. Did I ever think I'd be on Shark Tank season 8 in 2016? Did I ever think that, my pitch would get me in my first audition would lead to a movie that we filmed in Santa Monica, Malibu, Milan, Italy? Like, my life has been incredible because of my way to communicate. And then to turn around and start Perfect Pitches by Precious, my current company, which we're going to change the name to the Perfect Pitch Group very, very soon. People told me no one would ever listen to a fat Black woman. I'm too fat, too Black, and didn't have an Ivy League degree. So when people read my bio, when you read it and they hear Harvard, Columbia, like, yes, but when you're the best in the world at what you do, please believe. So the only reason I got good at pitching is because I realized that that's a niche that people only think elevator, media, or investor. They don't think about the speaker pitch. They don't think about the sales pitch. They don't think about the interview pitch. And just so you know, Nick, I went to the University of Iowa. I was in a summer pre-graduate research experience program when I was in college. And so that's why I'll always have an affinity for the University of Iowa.
Oh, that's amazing. Well,
yep.
Go
The world
Hawks.
is small. The world is small.
And as we're recording this, our Hawkeye women's basketball team is in the Final Four here tonight. So
go ahead.
Extra big Go Hawks. But I love what you said there, because you talked about pitching different. And again, I focused on the elevator, but I think
definitely.
The other word there is pitch. And I feel like, you mentioned like a lot of people think it's stringing a bunch of words together. And I feel like there's a lot of... it's kind of code for like hard sell coming on really strong with some of that. Say more about your different approach.
So for me, my different approach, and that's why they call me the killer pitch master. Why? Because I slay all competition. When you create a pitch that pays and slays, you've come to the master. So with being able to look at pitching as something you do every day, there's an educational component. If you realize when you talk about that no good man, no good woman in your life, an opportunity, should you take her or not, or whether to go after something or not, you're the focal point of attention. So make use of that time. And when you think about it, pitching is a way to captivate, titillate, elevate, radiate, and get closer to the sale. You want people to be attracted to what it is you're doing. So one of the first things I'll say is you have to tell me why you're the only choice that matters. Because sure, can people tell you my name, the name of my company, what I do, who I serve, and your call to action? Okay, that's basic. Most people don't even do it right, basically. But if you want to take it to the next level, there are questions that must be answered. Do you even know that you're the only choice that matters for your particular industry? Do you know that you are the right student for that internship? What are you going to bring to the table no one else does? So you know what our young people, they're like, oh, I'm diligent, I'm hardworking. Everybody says that. That is nothing. So if you want to sound like everybody else, you get treated like everybody else. So number one, why are you the only choice that matters for this position, for this opportunity, for this investment? And if you can't think about it, this is where you start bringing in your trusted individuals, professors, because they'll tell you things about you you won't know. So you need 150 reasons why someone should hire you, book you, refer you. Number two, since most start off with their name and what school they go to, or they start off with their name, the name of their company, boring. Give them a reason to care. No, we're not going to start off like that. What you want to do is interrupt the pattern of boring. So sometimes when I'll enter a room, I'll say, ladies, raise your hands if you want to be a bad bitch with a power bitch. They over here clutching pearls, raising hands. You got men over here raising hands because they're not looking at their phone. They're like, did she just say that? And I'll say, fellas, I ain't forgot about you. Raise your hands if you want to be a bad man with a master pitching plan. Now they going in. I said, well, you've come to the right place. My name is Precious Williams, proud founder and CEO of Perfect Pitches by Precious. And if you really want to know where the money resides, it resides in creating a killer pitch that pays and slays. And then I go into, elevator media, just some little things about those. And then tell them why I really am the only choice that matters. Being a 13-time national champion means I don't listen to pitches. I don't just listen. I've created it. I've been in your shoes. How do you get earned media when you don't have the money to hire a big PR machine? How do you attract? How do you bait, attract, and close with ease? You got to see the master, the killer pitch master. And so I have success with my clientele in 6 forms of pitching. So now you're educating them. There's more. Speakers shouldn't be speaking for free if you got some experience. The sales pitch, everybody needs that. And interviews, young people need that. Grown people need that. And so that's how I was able to set myself apart, because I didn't focus on just one if I've had success in them all. How do you think I got into the biggest companies in the world? Because I proved that what I do is truly unique. And you can't compare me to anyone else.
That is such a good point. And I love that you mentioned all the different places where we need pitching. I feel like we're unearthing all of these misconceptions, because I think a lot of times we think, oh, that's the startup investor pitch. But your
Right.
point about pitching yourself constantly in job interviews to other people as you work your way through your job, you grow your business. It's something that you really need in your tool belt beyond that one specific isolated, again, you have the Shark Tank in your bio, but I think some of us think that, pitching is what you do on Shark Tank. It's not a tool that you need in your tool belt constantly. But I think that you've reminded us that it's really, pitching is everywhere.
You definitely, and that's so true. And being able to understand that, when you hit a certain level, you start to see things that most people don't see. And also, the only reason that came to me is because, I started noticing that my, prospects were getting low. And I started asking on social media, and people are like, I don't want to go on Shark Tank. I don't want to do this. And, I kept asking, and some people were really like, I don't know how to speak well publicly, so I can't think in terms of pitching if I don't know how to conquer that fear. So I created the Booked and Busy Speakers Bootcamp. I created hashtag Rockstar Confidence. So there were ideas that if on my own brain, I wouldn't have found out had I not been asking questions. And I asked questions without asking for somebody to pay for something. I was staying curious will open up a whole new world to you. So, when I wrote The Pitch Queen, I don't know if you knew this, I wrote 4 number 1 best-selling books. So The Pitch Queen is my 4th. And so after I wrote my first, second, and third, which were all on different aspects of pitching, my fourth book, I felt comfortable telling people part of my backstory. Because when people meet me, they see the bio, and like, oh, they're expecting me to act a certain way. And I'm like, no, like Cardi B, I'm regular, degular, schmegler, but I have an extraordinary talent. And so when you meet me, you're going to meet the real Precious. When I speak, you're going to hear the accent from St. Louis that people told me to get rid of. You're going to see my full figure divaness. You're going to see the funk and flair of my clothes. And you're going to see that I show up as I am. But in order for me to be comfortable with who I am, I had to let go of the weight of everybody else's expectations. Most people do not have a mom who nearly murdered them when they were 12. Most people don't have a father who was a drug addict then and still is to this day. Most people do not leave their home state because they felt like they could not grow into the person they were. So getting a full scholarship to Spelman was amazing. Getting a full scholarship to Georgetown University Law Center. Getting kicked out. Getting another full scholarship to Rutgers School of Law. Passing the bar on my first try. Doing all the things and still hitting rock bottom sometimes, and still having the gift of speech and the gift of communication and connection. That is why I'm here. And I hope that when people hear my story or they're reading my story, they realize I've been through the same things you've been through, and I don't put a sugarcoat on it. But I want you to know that you can stand before the greats and take your place as a legend among legends. I didn't have the money. I didn't have the familiar ties. I didn't grow up in media, but I knew that I would have a billboard in Times Square. I knew that I would work with the biggest companies in the world. I knew it when I was 5. It makes no sense, but I watched the A&E channel, Arts and Entertainment. And that showed me that there's a world outside of the window of the hood of St. Louis. And so that is why I felt comfortable sharing. Like, it's going to be some crazy stories in there. However, the woman that I am today, and the reason why I'm so great at speaking and communicating and writing, is because I'm not afraid of my past.
On Brand will be right back after this.
As a business-to-business marketer, your needs are unique. B2B buying cycles are long and your customers face incredibly complex decisions. Isn't it time you had a marketing platform built specifically for you? LinkedIn ads empower marketers with solutions for you and your customers. LinkedIn ads allow you to build the right relationships, drive results, and reach your customers in a respectful manner. On LinkedIn, you'll have access to and build relationships with decision makers. Of the 875 million users on the network, 180 million are senior level executives, 10 million are C-level executives. You'll also be able to drive results with targeting and measurement tools built specifically for B2B. And they work. Audiences exposed to brand messages on LinkedIn are 6 times more likely to convert. LinkedIn ads is also ranked number 1 for security, community, and ad experience as part of Business Insider's Digital Trust Study. Make B2B marketing everything it can be and get a $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/MPN to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/MPN. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey there, it's Jason Falls. If your company or maybe one of your clients sells to marketers, you look for advertising channels that guarantee business marketers are paying attention, right? Let me introduce you to the Marketing Podcast Network. You're listening to it right now. It's a network of podcasts all about marketing. So 100% of MPN's audience are marketers. Reach them by advertising on the Marketing Podcast Network. Learn more and find our media kit at marketingpodcasts.net.
Now, back to the show. So you talked earlier about not being afraid of your past, and I really think there's something in there that you talk about that is, we talk a lot on the show about story and really owning your story. I love the Brené Brown quote that owning your story is the bravest thing you'll ever do. And it sounds like you are proof positive of that, and really a great role model in that as well, of bringing all of yourself. Because I feel like especially, I'm from the very guarded Midwest, so we don't like to bring our full selves to things. It doesn't come it doesn't come naturally to us. It's scary, but what you just mentioned about stepping into a room with yourself, with your story, talk about I mean, because unless you just had a light bulb of, okay, I'm doing that now, that's a scary moment for many.
Oh, please believe. Let me be clear, y'all. Like, I may be the only things perfect about me are my pitches. I'm a work in progress. Let's get it clear. Listen to what I'm telling y'all. I done been to hell and back. You know, I done walked through the fire and don't even smell like smoke. I got that from JBL and the WWE. But when I tell you, okay, so I was homeless from 2017 to 2018. When I lost the love of my life, you know, right after Shark Tank, you know, my business partner and I, Curvy Girls imploded and now it's fully complete, right? Like that company is gone. And I became a severe alcoholic, lost everything. Homeless on the streets of New York, tried to take my life on my 38th birthday. That's some for real stuff. And I know it sounds like, oh, well, the way you talk about it, I say, yeah, because I have no attachment to it anymore. But when I came back and people said, oh, the best thing you ever did was probably Shark Tank. No, the best is what I'm about to do. When I was sitting in the Bowery Mission Women's Center and we didn't have computers, I mean, we didn't have like phones, we didn't have like television, you could just turn, no. That was 2 years where I was away in a Christ-centered life transformation program. So you couldn't play on computers, couldn't play on the phone, couldn't play on tablets. You really had to deal with yourself and deal with sisters in the program with you. And so whatever feelings I had of shame and worry in the nighttime and with some of the staff members, my counselors, you know, they were really encouraging me that I am more than my accomplishments and what I used to do. The best really is yet to come. And I heard my Heavenly Father say to me, your second chapter is going to be better than your first. That makes no sense when you're homeless. When I walked out of homelessness on September 1st, 2018, and walked into the very house that I'm in now, the pastor's house, pastor of our church on the Upper East Side, I started out on the third floor. Who would ever take in someone who's homeless? He and his wife did. I was on the third floor. Now I'm in a 2-bedroom apartment by myself. Private interest. What we talking about? My rent is nothing to play with. But how did I get here? So I went to an event, talked about how great I was as a killer pitch master, even though I was homeless. Talking to a woman who didn't know I was a client of Bottomless Closet. I'm telling her I'm popping, I'm all this kind of stuff. She's like, we gonna hire you. Okay, it was an unpaid speaking engagement. I'm thinking no one's gonna show up. It was standing room only when I walked in. I haven't spoken in 2 years. And from there, Bottomless Closet blessed me so much. They spoke my name to Viacom. And I spoke at Smart and Sexy Day. And I heard as I was ending my training, my Heavenly Father said to me, give it to them raw. Now I'm all scared because I don't want them to look at me as some downtrodden hood recipient. But he told me, you start from a place of power. They wanted you as a killer pitch master. They didn't even know you were homeless. He said, but this is why you show them that your donations don't just go when people have barely their jobs. You really came out like a wrecking ball. And that is what can happen with the right people in your life. So I told them about my homeless journey. I'm looking at Pam. She's the program manager of Bottomless Closet. And she looked at me like I didn't even know. I'm like, but you weren't supposed to. Because if you knew of my past, I wouldn't be here. It'd be like, there, little chocolate chick. But I was powerful standing before you because who I am today is more important than who I was yesterday. And so as I said it out loud, do you know how powerful it was to let go? And so no matter what, certain stories are for certain audiences. When I'm at LinkedIn, when I'm at these big tech companies, we're not talking about my homeless journey because certain stories are for certain people. And that's the thing about pitching. Not every pitch is for every audience. And that's why pitching is so much more than people think it is, right? So if I'm at a keynote at a women's event, I can bring some of that in there. But if I am the sales trainer for a top tech firm, then we're going to stick to the goals of the organization, shaking things up. But my background, as far as my personal, does not need to be brought into it because that's not what they're there for and that's not what they're paying me for. So I'm so comfortable talking about certain things today because I realize when I look at social media, when I look around, people are putting on all these fronts, ain't got no money in the bank account, about to be tossed out on the streets. I'd rather you know I came from hard times and I created a life out of nothing. And if I have to go back to eating ramen noodles, I will and bounce back even higher. And I want you to know I ain't gonna front for nobody.
Yeah. That your story is so powerful from everything that you just walked us through. But I want to make sure that I have time for your latest book
Mm-hmm.
and talk us through Rainmaking 101 from day
Rainmaking.
one.
Rainmaking 101 from day one. So, since I stay curious about things, one of the things I started noticing, I was an attorney, as my attorney life concluded in 2016. I started thinking back to if nothing is ever wasted. I started going to different events and I realized one thing that always bothered me when I was an attorney. I was a worker bee. I didn't understand the power of rainmaking, of, securing clientele, customers, and all that. I didn't. I was just so concerned with just getting the job done. Well, if you're a rainmaker and you're developing the type of relationships that can turn into lucrative opportunities later, it's not about the quick fix, but just starting out in a law firm, starting out in a finance professional career, sales professional career. I want them to walk in with a rainmaker mentality that I'm going to get some work done, but I'm also going to split my time in cultivating the right relationships, getting the right people to notice me, making sure that my network knows how to pitch me for different opportunities. But first, you got to educate them, because some people only think all I do is pitches. And I'm like, you do realize I'm a speechwriter. You do realize there's so much more to me than pitching. But the fact that you only know surface about me means I need to do a better job of showing the depth and breadth of what I do so that their ears are attuned when opportunities come their way. So if you're going to be going to events, you can't be at every event because that doesn't even make any sense. We got to get real strategic about it. How do you truly build relationships? How do you do that? That's what my book talks about. And the reason why it's called Rainmaking 101 from day one is because no matter where you're starting at, or even if you're 3 years into it, we're going to change the mindset so you understand that as layoffs are going on, if you are bringing in money or you're developing the right relationships, there comes a time where you start to call in to collect. But you've been putting in the work. You've been checking in on people. You've been making yourself available to certain things. You've been going to certain high-end events to make sure that people can see you. You're being very strategic with your time. And you're also making sure your network knows the depth and breadth of you. And I put that all together in my Rainmaking 101 from day one. And it's coming out soon. And I'm so proud of this book because it finally answered the question of why I was so disgruntled as an attorney. Because a lot of us walk into situations as the worker bee without knowing that there are more opportunities out there when we open our mind to the possibilities, that where you are today is not where you always will be. So let's make an impact starting from day one, or starting from you be somewhere 3-4 years. There's more out there, and I'm going to open your mind to even more possibilities.
I love that. And I love the idea because I think so many of us don't want, we want to be known for something. But then the downside is, like you said, proof positive of, oh, I don't need a pitch. But there's so much more to it than that. So I think you've probably got a lot of interested rainmakers listening in, or potential rainmakers. Is there a feature about the book that you're really excited about? I don't know why as an author myself, it sometimes seems like there's this cool thing that you develop that you can't wait to share with the world. Is there some part of the book that you're really excited about?
Well, yes, I am very excited about showing people, number one, first of all, because I was an attorney, that because things weren't taught to me, I had to learn it through entrepreneurship and then bring it back. So when I tell y'all nothing is wasted, there are things in your life that you never circle back on because the lesson is there and you can impart it to other people. Another thing that I really like about the book is, in addition to, having some pitch practice things in there, is showing people how to train their network to listen for particular opportunities and have your name on deck. You're top of mind. You're top of mind. Do you know how important it is that I don't do all this business development anymore because my network is so attuned? I was just elected as the NABO, National Association of Women Business Owners, Chicago, their keynote speaker for their 40th annual celebration of awards.
Awesome.
And so that's in Chicago. I'm flying to Wisconsin to be at the Young Guns Power Persuasion event. I just came back from California speaking at the Entrepreneurs Organization. I spoke to 3 different chapters, LA, Orange County, and San Diego on 3 different days. So I'm in front of multimillionaire CEOs. I'm in front of colleges and universities. I'm in front of sales teams. I'm speaking at law schools. All of that. How did that all happen? Remember, I was an attorney first, and now it all comes full circle. So staying curious and seeing that there are places you need to revisit because you're older and wiser and you're going to see things differently. And you're going to know the young people that need to hear about this. You're going to know about some of us who are in the middle stages of our life, people of a certain age. And you're also going to be able to see things from the greatest perspective. And now by teaching others, and also by teaching yourself, you were so much more important than you ever gave yourself credit for. So let's step out of the worker bee mentality. Yes, you can do the work, but you will be replaced for someone who's cheaper. But when you're the rainmaker mentality, you are the king bee and the queen bee, and you determine how high you fly. And that is the biggest change. So now you understand pitching from a different perspective because now you have a different audience. Now you're not focused just on your industry. There are other industries that may need you. There are other young people who need to know where you start this year. You might not be there next year. You might take it to another level completely in another industry. So that's why Rainmaking 101 from day one is so appropriate, whether you're in high school, college, you are a new attorney, finance professional. I'm going to get your mind right. And it's not just mindset mastery. It's understanding you are a rainmaker the moment you decide to take up that mantle. They can always find other people to do the work. Rainmaking 101 from day one is what you need.
I love it. And I love the idea of training your network because we talk so much about building your network, but it's kind of like an advanced form of pitching because the people that are in your network that you know that are theoretically these connections need to be able to talk about you in a way that knows fully what you're about so that they can connect those dots better too. So as we start to wrap up, I have to ask you, I've smiled several times during our conversation, but Precious, what is a brand that has made you smile recently?
A brand, and you all may not know this brand, but it was Sa Sweets VA. So I did a training for ACDN online, ACDN for their annual conference. And this particular woman watched me. She went into my Instagram and said she'd love to send me these little cakes that she had made, right? But I was away. I had to go to Austin for 1 week for South by Southwest and then to California for some other things. So she told me, when will I be back? Do you know she had shipped to my home all of these little like cake. It wasn't like, they're not cake pops, but these little cake things. And they were like vanilla buttercream, strawberries and cream, and chocolate pecan. So when I received it, I didn't know what it was. I opened up this box and there's all these beautiful little cakes in there. And I prayed to God. I said, God, don't let this, eat my stomach up or whatever. Right. And it came from a great place. Right. I know the woman's sister. When I did a video because I wanted the world to see this is how you stand out. Right. So I did a video I ate a couple of them cake canister thing. When I tell you, I was like this. Okay, I'm gonna put her on blast. The reason why I think it's important is because she reached out, not knowing she didn't want me to be blessed. She wanted to honor me for teaching women in transition, women who've struggled through things, whether they're the C-suite, middle management, or they just, fell on hard times. You're helping nonprofits, and she wanted to give back to me. So she had no idea I was going to do the video, put it on blast on social media. And now my peeps are standing up to buy from her. And it's not sponsored. This is like, I'm thankful that someone could see me and know I'm a big girl. But it's called Sa Sweets VA, and it's out of Virginia. And she makes the most incredible cake products, and she's doing specials for Easter. And the reason why I'm putting her name out there is because she is a Black woman who has a dream of inspiring other women to go after their passions and to really show up for others. Did she know when she met me on the virtual conference as a keynote that I was going to say something that inspired her? She inspired me by reaching out. So I'm putting her on blast. Info at sasweetsva.com.
Awesome. Well, we will be sure to link up to her in in our show notes. You've made me smile. You're now making me hungry. So as we conclude, Precious, where can folks go to learn more about who you are and what you do?
You all know I am Precious Williams, Killer Pitchmaster, aka the Pitch Queen. My company is Perfect Pitches by Precious. You can reach me on LinkedIn at Precious L. Williams, Killer Pitchmaster. You always got to stay on brand. On Facebook, I'm at Perfect Pitch P. On Twitter, I'm at Perfect Pitch P. On Instagram, I'm at Perfect Pitches P. If you go to YouTube, you can check me out under Perfect Pitches by Precious and check out great videos of me live or me doing little trainings and giving you a little taste of what I'm capable of. And then if you want to go to my website, it is www.perfectpitchesbyprecious.com. On my website, you can purchase my books, all four of the first ones. You can check that out on my Work With Me page. And for my fifth book, Rainmaking 101 from Day One, you're going to find that on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, Books A Millions, anywhere books are sold, but it will also be coming on my website. But if you want to help me out initially, go to Amazon. Rainmaking 101 from Day One, packaging, positioning, and pitching exposed. And get your copy today.
Awesome. Well, we will link up to all of that in our show notes, which folks can always find at onbrandpodcast.com. Precious Williams, thanks for being on brand with us.
Thank you so much. On brand.
On Brand is part of the Marketing Podcast Network. If you like what you're hearing, if we've made you smile, you can always listen free on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite platform may be. And please take a moment and rate and review the podcast to help others find the show. Until next week, I'm Nick Westergaard, and I'll see you on the internet.
This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.